Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at something, well, many of us probably don't think twice about, but it's huge. Coffee and tea.
Yeah, absolutely essential for billions, right? That
Uh,
morning cup, the afternoon break.
exactly. They're just so woven into daily life all around the world, easy to take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
So for this deep dive, we've got a really interesting report, Global Coffee and Tea Market Forecast to 2033. Some fascinating numbers in here.
Right. And our mission today, it's not just about reading out figures. We want to, pull out the really key insights, understand just how massive this market is.
And see where the big growth is happening. That's the crucial part.
Exactly. Find out why things are moving the way they are.
And the source, it points out right away why these drinks are so popular. It's taste, yeah, but also that boost they give you.
The functional side, definitely. And the cultural aspect, too.
Huge cultural relevance. Plus, the sheer variety now is incredible. You got ready-to-drink stuff, fancy infusions, herbal teas.
It caters to everything, really. Convenience, wellness.
Yeah.
That's a big driver we'll see in the numbers.
Okay, let's unpack this then.
Yeah.
When we talk about the global coffee and tea market, just how big are we talking? Billions or more?
Oh, much, much more. Honestly, it's colossal. Cognitive market research puts the numbers. We'll get this.
Okay, I'm ready.
Nearly $6.4 trillion in revenue back in 2021. That's trillion with a T.
6.4 trillion.
Wow. And it didn't stop there. By 2025, it jumped to over 7.7 trillion.
Okay.
And the projection, by 2033, it's expected to hit an incredible $11.35 trillion.
11.35
Yeah.
trillion. Just to put that in perspective, that's bigger than like the entire economy of Japan.
Exactly. It really hammers home how fundamental these drinks are globally.
Yeah.
And what's really fascinating isn't just the size now, but how it's climbing over the next decade.
Right, that growth.
Yeah, the growth from 2025 to 2033, that's a compound annual growth rate, CAGR, of 4.9%.
Okay, so CAGR, that's like the average yearly growth,
Right.
smoothing out the bumps.
Precisely. It shows sustained, pretty robust expansion. Almost 5% year on average for such a huge market.
So this isn't just about your local coffee shop. It's a massive economic engine.
A huge economic force, yeah.
Yeah.
Affecting everything from farms to high street cafes worldwide.
All right, so that's the global view. $11 trillion. Now, this is where I think it gets really interesting. How does that break down? Region by region?
Yeah, the stories definitely vary. I mean, everywhere's growing, but the rates are quite different. It tells you a lot about what's happening on the ground.
So where should we start? North America.
Let's do it. North America overall, looking at growth from about $1.8 trillion in 2021
Okay.
to over $3 trillion by 2033. That works out to a CAGR of, let's see, about 4.4%. Solid growth.
And the U.S. is the big one there, I assume. Any surprises within North America?
The U.S. is definitely the giant, projected to reach almost $2.5 trillion itself by 2033.
2.5 trillion, yeah.
But like you said, it's mature, so the growth rate is steady, around 4.17%. But check out Canada.
What's happening in Canada?
Canada's showing much stronger growth, a CAGR over 6.1%.
6.1. That's quite a jump compared to the U.S.
It really is. Its revenue is set to more than double, from around $279 billion to over $568 billion.
Wow. What do you think is driving that?
Could be a faster uptake of specialty coffee, maybe more demand for those ready-to-drink options, perhaps younger consumers really embracing the trends. It suggests a very dynamic market there.
Interesting. In Mexico?
Mexico's growth is more modest, about 2.18% CAGR. Still growing, but not at the same pace.
Okay, that Canadian figure is definitely eye-catching. Let's jump over to Europe. What's the picture there?
Europe as a whole, it's growing from just under $1.6 trillion in 2021 to over $2.6 trillion by 2033. The CGR is respectable, around 4.3%.
And the biggest market there? Germany?
Germany, yes. Largest market, but its growth is, again, quite similar to the U.S., around 4.13%. Steady.
But are there any European countries showing that faster growth, like Canada did?
Absolutely. Look at Russia. It's actually leading the growth among the countries listed here with a pretty strong 5.3% CAGR.
Russia. Interesting. Why do you think that is?
Could be several things. Maybe a growing middle class, more modern retail chains opening up, wider availability of different products. It's projected to reach nearly $300 billion by 2033.
Okay. Anyone else notable in Europe?
Italy's also showing strong growth, almost 4.9% CAGR. Even with its deep traditional coffee culture, it's clearly finding new ways to expand, maybe more premium products, different formats.
Fascinating how those cultural differences play out. Okay, now, Asia Pacific. You hinted this was the big one for growth.
Oh, yeah. Asia Pacific is, well, it's the global growth champion, no question.
Lay the numbers on
The market there is just exploding from around $2 trillion in 2021
$4 trillion.
to nearly $3.9 trillion projected for 2033. And the CAGR, the highest globally for a region, almost 5.5%.
5.5%. So what's fueling that? Which countries are leading this charge?
Well, there's one country in particular that's projected to have the highest growth in the world.
On
India.
India.
Really? A staggering 7.24% CAGR. Just phenomenal growth.
7.24. Wow. What is happening in India?
It's likely a mix of things. You've got rapid urbanization, a huge young population, rising incomes.
And changing tastes.
Exactly. India is traditionally tea-focused, but coffee culture is booming in the cities. Plus, massive demand for convenience. Those ready-to-drink options for both coffee and tea are flying off the shelves. Its market is set to more than double, hitting over $762 billion.
Incredible. What about China? Still the biggest?
China is still the largest market in the region, yes, and growing very strongly, too, over 5.2% CAGR, projected to hit over $1.3 trillion.
Okay. Any other standouts in APAC?
Singapore's worth mentioning. Much smaller country, obviously, but its growth rate is remarkable, 6.25% CAGR.
So it's not just population size driving this, it's also increasing wealth and changing habits across the board in Asia Pacific.
That's absolutely right. Both factors are clearly at play.
Okay, truly dynamic region. Let's move south. South America. What's the story there? South America is also looking strong. The overall market is expected to nearly double, too, from about $435 billion to over $805 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of around 5.28%.
And Brazil, I imagine, dominates, being such a huge coffee producer and consumer.
Brazil is the largest, yes, growing at just over 5.17% CAGR.
Solid.
What about other countries there? Any faster growth?
Yeah, actually, Argentina and Colombia are both showing really strong growth. Their CAGRs are very similar, both around 5.85%.
5.85. That's significant growth, too.
Definitely suggests evolving tastes, maybe a rise in café culture, more diverse products becoming popular in those economies.
Got it. Okay, moving on. Middle East. Coffee and tea have deep roots there.
Deep roots, absolutely, and the market reflects that, but also modern trends. The region's revenue is set to nearly double, from about $236 billion to over $465 billion by 2033.
And the growth rate.
Pretty robust, 5.8% CAGR overall for the region.
Any country standing out there.
The UAE actually shows the highest growth in the Middle East, over 6.68% CAGR. 6.68, that's another really high number. Why the UAE?
Well, think about its position. It's a global hub, lots of tourism, big expat population, alongside, local demand for those premium coffee and tea experiences.
Makes sense. In Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia is the largest market in the Middle East, growing steadily, too, over 5.6% CAGR. So you see both that historical consumption and the modern trends boosting the numbers.
Right. Okay. Last region, Africa. What are we seeing there?
Africa's market is also expanding significantly from around $262 billion in 2021 to over $482 billion projected for 2033. That's CAGR of just over 5%.
5%. And within Africa?
Nigeria has the largest market share currently, growing at about 4.7%.
Okay. Any areas with faster growth?
South Africa is showing strong growth, actually, over 5.5% CAGR.
5.5. So similar story there, perhaps. Urbanization, growing middle class?
That seems to be the pattern, yes. Rising incomes, more people in cities, driving demand for all sorts of coffee and tea products, both the familiar ones and newer formats.
Wow. Okay, that was a whirlwind tour of the globe. So many numbers, so many different growth stories. Let's try and connect the dots. What does this all mean for us as learners trying to grasp these big global trends?
Yeah, what's the big takeaway? I think if you pull it all together, the picture becomes pretty clear.
It is.
While the established markets, the US, Germany, they're still absolutely huge in dollar terms.
Massive baseline revenue.
Exactly. But the real percentage growth, the really dynamic expansion, it's often happening in these emerging economies.
Places like India, Canada, Russia, the UAE, Argentina.
Precisely. Regions with growing middle classes, younger populations perhaps, who are really embracing new products, new habits. They're jumping on those convenience and wellness trends we mentioned right at the start.
So it's a sign of shifting lifestyles on a global scale.
I think that's exactly what it signals, how people live, what they consume. It's changing, and this market reflects that.
And it's worth repeating, isn't it, that this market isn't just one thing. It's ready-to-drink cans, fancy
Mhm.
single-origin beans, traditional tea ceremonies,
Absolutely. That diversity is key. It means coffee and tea can adapt, find ways to fit into almost any lifestyle, any culture, anywhere.
which fuels this incredible growth we're seeing. It's like they're constantly reinventing themselves.
In a way, yes.
So just to recap the big aha moments. First, just the sheer scale. Over $11 trillion projected globally. Mind-blowing number.
Truly staggering.
And second, those pockets of really surprising, explosive growth. India leading the world at over 7%, but also Canada, Russia, the UAE showing really strong surges. It tells us where the energy is.
Yeah, definitely highlights where the future potential is concentrated. And, this leads to a final thought, something for you, the listener, to maybe mull over.
Okay.
As we see this consumption shifting and growing, especially in these booming markets, think about the ripple effects. How might these trends change, well, everything, like farming practices, global supply chains, maybe even local economies and social customs? How will this ongoing evolution of coffee and tea reshape the world in the coming years?
That is a lot to think about.
Yeah.
A really important question.
Yeah.
Well, we hope this deep dive has given you plenty to chew on or maybe sip on. Keep exploring, keep questioning. Thanks for joining us.
Think about that steaming mug of coffee, maybe, or your calming afternoon tea. It's such a simple, personal thing, right? A daily ritual. But what if I told you there's this whole universe of complexity, innovation, and some pretty surprising challenges brewing behind every single cup? Today, we're doing a deep dive into the global coffee and tea drinks market. Our mission really is to quickly get you up to speed on the crucial insights, those unexpected drivers, and yeah, the significant hurdles shaping this really fascinating industry. We're basing this dive on our source, coffee and tea market, trends, drivers, and challenges. And it reveals this isn't just about, beverages, it's about these big shifts in how we behave as consumers, the stark realities of climate change, and some frankly mind-bending tech advancements.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll find this deep dive is, well, it's a genuine shortcut to being truly well-informed here. We're going to connect quite a few dots for you, show how these seemingly separate factors actually link up. And I promise there are some real aha moments coming up that show why your daily drink is way more than just refreshment.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Our source points to some powerful forces pushing this market forward. What would you say is the absolute biggest accelerator right now, the thing that's really changing our choices?
Oh, without a doubt, it's the huge shift towards health and wellness. But the real insight here isn't just that people want healthy drinks. It's more about how this trend is pushing coffee and tea, traditionally simple drinks, into a totally new competitive space. It's forcing innovation in areas like, ingredients and functional formulation, areas that used to be just for health supplements.
Right. So we're seeing teas loaded with antioxidants, coffees that apparently have anti-inflammatory properties, and even drinks with adaptogens mixed in, like ashwagandha.
Exactly like that.
It sort of fundamentally redefines their role, doesn't it? Beyond just being a drink, it sounds like we're heading towards a future where your morning coffee is also like a dose of wellness.
Precisely. Consumers are actively looking for drinks that support immunity, maybe reduce stress, or boost cognitive function. And this isn't niche anymore. It's becoming a mainstream expectation. It's really driving product development and marketing in ways we haven't seen before.
And often that focus on well-being seems to go hand in hand with wanting a richer experience, doesn't it? Something more intentional. Our source talks about premiumization and the experience economy as another huge driver. What does that actually mean for, our daily cup?
Well, modern consumers, especially millennials and Gen Z, they aren't just buying a drink. They're sort of buying into an aesthetic, a story, a moment. And that translates into this surge in demand for artisanal brews, single-origin coffees or teas, craft beverages with really bold, unique flavors. The aha here, I think, is that these third-wave coffee shops and boutique tea houses, they're not just selling drinks, they're curating these immersive, story-driven experiences. They connect you to where it came from, the brewing process, the subtle flavor notes. It turns a simple purchase into, a mini escape, or even a bit of a status symbol.
So it's not just the liquid, but the whole ritual and maybe the aspiration around it. Okay, but how does that fit with the demand for convenience? Like the ready-to-drink, the RTD innovations. Because, a curated experience often takes time.
That's a really good point. And it's true, while there's this demand for the fancy experience, there's also this undeniable need for convenience. Life is fast-paced. What's really compelling about RTD innovation is how it's just exploded way beyond basic iced tea or canned lattes. We're now seeing, well, everything. Carbonated coffee blends, functional wellness shots mixed in, even alcohol-spiked coffee and tea drinks. So it's not just about grabbing something quick. It's about bringing those curated experiences, those functional benefits, into a format you can take anywhere. This diversification is truly redefining what coffee and tea drinks can even be. It's pushing all the traditional boundaries.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds like there are these incredible tailwinds for the market health, experience, convenience. But like with any big industry, there's always tension, right? Challenges that could slow things down, maybe even reverse the growth. Our source definitely highlights some significant restraints. What's the biggest hurdle they pinpoint right now?
The single most critical challenge, the one that really threatens the foundation of the whole industry, is the disruptive impact of climate change, specifically on the supply chain. Coffee and tea farming are just incredibly sensitive to tiny temperature shifts and, unpredictable weather. Major growing regions, think Latin America, Africa, Asia, they're facing lower yields, really unpredictable crop cycles, more pests.
Lower yields. So if these trends keep going, are we looking at a future where, I don't know, a daily cup of coffee or tea becomes a luxury or even rare for the average person? How fast could that happen if things get worse?
That's exactly the worry. And the consequences are already happening. We're seeing significant price instability for the raw beans and leaves, and these deep concerns about long-term supply, sustainability, and just consistent quality. It hits the producer's bottom line directly, and eventually, yeah, that means higher prices or maybe less availability for you, the consumer. And the timeline seems to be accelerating. Experts are warning that some coffee varieties might just not be growable in certain areas within a few decades.
Wow. And climate change isn't the only thing making it hard to get these products from the farm to our cup, is it? Beyond the weather, our source talks about the sheer complexity of the global supply chain itself.
Oh, absolutely. Global sourcing has been under severe strain. It's like a perfect storm of factors. You've got ongoing trade restrictions, shipping bottlenecks that started during the pandemic but are still causing problems, rising fuel costs. Just think about the journey from a remote farm picking coffee cherries or tea leaves all the way to the shelf in your supermarket. The logistics of getting raw materials and finished products delivered have become way more expensive and just highly uncertain. This isn't just small delays we're talking about. It's seriously squeezing profit margins for everyone involved in this sector. Makes it harder to absorb other rising costs, too.
Right. And as if that wasn't enough complexity, there are these mounting sustainability pressures. It feels like every company's under the microscope, especially from consumers who care about this stuff. What's the balancing act they're trying to manage here?
It's an incredibly delicate balancing act, really. As environmental awareness grows everywhere, you, the consumer, are demanding more. You want biodegradable packaging, or at least recyclable. You want ethically sourced beans and leaves, less waste in production. Companies are getting scrutinized for everything.
Yeah.
Single-use plastics, how much water they use, their labor practices, fair trade policies, you name it. The challenge is meeting all these higher expectations, which usually costs more, while somehow staying competitive in a really tough market. It's a real tightrope walk for profitability.
It certainly sounds like a lot to navigate, but what's really striking and maybe hopeful is how the market keeps evolving and innovating despite all these obstacles. It shows how resilient the industry is. So let's look at some of those trends that are reshaping things right now. First up, these functional ingredient blends. How are companies getting creative here? What does that look like?
It's this fascinating mix of wellness and beverages, really. We're seeing innovative drinks pairing coffee or tea with, well, all sorts of things. Nootropics for mental clarity, CBD for stress relief, probiotics for gut health, superfoods like turmeric or spirulina. And these aren't just weird things in health stores anymore. They're showing up in mainstream brands. The interesting part is how brands are using these blends to offer really tailored solutions for specific wellness goals. It extends the value of the drink way beyond just taste or caffeine.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then there are those super smooth drinks that have really taken off, cold brew and nitro.
Yeah.
They feel like a step beyond just regular iced coffee, don't they? What's their secret? Why have they gained so much ground?
They absolutely are a step beyond. Cold brew and nitrogen-infused drinks were pretty niche not long ago, but they've gained serious traction because they have these distinct profiles that are really smooth, less acidic, and they feel premium. Cold brewing itself extracts different flavor compounds, so it tastes naturally sweeter, often needs less sugar, and nitrogen that gives it that creamy, almost stout-like texture without any dairy. We're seeing things like nitrogen-infused teas, even barrel-aged cold brews. This whole segment attracts people, connoisseurs maybe, willing to pay a bit more for something innovative and refined. It just shows how even small changes in how you prepare it can open up whole new markets and cravings.
Totally. Okay, finally, let's touch on technology. How is digital transformation and these direct-to-consumer or DTC models changing things? It feels like tech is touching every part of this market now, from finding new blends to actually making our morning cup.
Oh, completely. Technology is fundamentally reshaping how you buy and consume coffee and tea. It connects you much more directly to the brands. I mean, think about the explosion of subscription boxes, right?
Yeah.
Curated selections showing up at your door, or just the sheer convenience of ordering your daily latte through an app. And then there's the smart brewing gear. Maybe a high-tech espresso machine that learns what you like, or a smart kettle that syncs with your phone for the perfect water temperature. These digital tools, they aren't just about making things easier. They're really helping brands build deeper loyalty, personalize your whole experience, and meet you wherever you are, home, work, on the go. It's transforming the whole customer journey.
So wrapping this up, what does it all mean? We've taken this deep dive into the coffee and tea drinks market, and what seems abundantly clear is that it's still vibrant, it's incredibly diverse, and fiercely competitive. And that's because of all these transformative dynamics we've talked about. It really drives home that a simple cup tells this profoundly complex global story.
Indeed, it does. So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. How might this convergence health, these curated experiences, the sustainability pressures, and all this digital tech, how might it reshape not just what we drink, but also our daily rituals and even our connections to those global supply chains in the years ahead? Next time you grab that cup of coffee or tea, maybe just pause and consider what it might signify, beyond just being a beverage.